Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for showing up each and every day for yourself. So in the very beginning when I was connecting, I was drawn to draw something with like my soot from my Palo Santo. And this is what I drew. I was a little confused of it. And when I got into it, we can look at this as like a family crest of 3 swords. And this would be like that protector over the hand, or 4 swords. When we get into it, it makes a little more sense. So at that point, I said, I'm annoyed. And then I heard, annoyed you are. And I heard sympathy for the devil. Looking at Sympathy for the Devil, the song from the Rolling Stones. Can you guess who I am? Puzzling you is the nature of my game. Now we can look at the devil as external. It's easier to blame everything external. Now, granted, there is a lot of negativity and density in the external, our experiences, the world, society, everything. But we can also look at that as internal, our thoughts, limiting beliefs, patterns, and bondage in general, like being chained to something. But we can leave that if we want. These could be thoughts, patterns, insecurities, also something physical like addictions, anything to distract us. That's really what addictions are. It's just a distraction from whatever is we don't want to deal with, or view, or to cope with things. And I'm not knocking them. We all have them. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're squeaky clean. You're addicted to something, and that's okay. It's fine. Then I heard the one that runs amok, a mask at hand, to be one of them. Excuse me. And I heard, sing boy, damn it. And I said, sing what? And Chernobyl came through. I was a bit confused. And then I saw a woman standing in front of a fire. It was a long time ago, like medieval times. And then I saw swords again. That's kind of when I went into that plaque on the wall. I think it's like a family crest or something. And that point, it was direct to heat, the fire, which fire is energy. In general, when we're looking at it in the element aspect, it is our passion, what drives us. If you have a true passion, you do it effortlessly. You are already sending all of that energy somewhere because you are striving for it. It's a goal. It's something you love, you dream of, you're passionate about. When we think about things that we're not, we're sending a whole bunch of energy to something we don't want to do. It's going to emphasize that. If you look at your energy as currency, it is, treat it like money. Look at it as money. Okay. 100% energy. Where does that go throughout your day? If we're looking at negative situations, let's say in the external, we're putting all of our energy into that. If we're actually putting it into ourselves or something passionate, at that point, Bridget. But I also wanted to talk about, what's her name? I wrote it down here. She was burned at the stake. Joan of the Arc. And she was burnt for heresy. And that is, whether we want to reference it to going against religion, the book, or a popular belief in general. When we're looking at sing, that could be physically singing. It could also be poetry. It could be any art form. When I wrote down art form, it gave me a full body tingle. So we're focusing on art form of some type. And this art form can be anything. If we're looking at Bridget, we could look at poetry. Yes, poetry can be simplified as just poetry, but any, singing, we're putting those words out. I look at music as well. That is an art form. But even just writing, however we put words together, is very artistic to get a point across. Sure, it can be very bland and just to the point. Hi, what are you doing? But if we're actually writing a story or a blog or expressing our feelings or emotions into something, the way we word it can paint a very different picture than the way someone else words it. So even if you're talking on the same topic, it could be expressed 10 times differently than how someone else is writing it. So when we go back to be one of them, maybe I don't feel jealous, but what's the word? Admiring somebody else that does something, and you want to be one of them. Well, put this energy into it. You have all of this energy, this fire. If it's a passion, do it. Move forward with it. It is all about where we're putting our energy. And maybe, the sympathy for the devil, maybe we have a problem with everything that's going around external of us and we want to talk about it. Maybe something happened to us, our past, and we use that as fuel, topics to talk about, or, wherever we want to put this art form into. Maybe it's something physical. Maybe it's drawing or creating something. If we look at Bridget, metalworking, being creative, jewelry, or forging things with our hands and bare raw steel or metal. A lot of beautiful things come out of that, and it's very personal and unreplicable because, if you're looking at metal and it's heating and you're pounding that with a hammer, nothing's gonna be the same. There's no machine to do the tolerances. We look at Chernobyl, that mass amount of energy. It's very silent and quiet nuclear power until something goes wrong, and then you see how much energy is actually there. That we all embody that to an extent, and wherever we're putting that energy, you'll see manifestations, whether negative or positive. That is the most powerful thing we have, and it is all ours. But where we give it is up to us in the end. When we put that into a passion or a purpose, that drive cannot be stopped, and the creation is completely personal and unreplicable. It is all ours. It is our energy, and people can try to steal it or replicate it, but it won't be the same because it has our signature. It is our personal creation. And when we have that much energy, like a nuclear reactor does, and we channel that or put that into this passion purpose, I'll make a promise that I'm not afraid to make. There will be positive, beneficial outcomes in more than two ways. We could look at financial and us being happy, but that's going to ripple across every aspect of your life. When you actually put that much energy, all of our energy, I shouldn't say all of it, but that much energy into our passion, or our purpose, it is just, what's the word I want to use? It can't be stopped. It can't be. It's almost like getting into mathematics. It can't be undone. It can't be held back. I only did 3 cards. 4 Pentacles reversed. Spiritualist. If we look at it the other way, we're all into material. When we do things for material, we're looking for that. We're not doing it for the reason. If we go to work every day, I'm only there for a paycheck. When I'm doing things for my passion, my purpose, I'm not there for the money. I'm there for the creation, whatever it may be. 9 of Wands reversed. Vulnerability. Being vulnerable with an outcome. Like, let's look at doing something, starting something because it's a passion. Okay? But then we get into the material aspect of it. It's not a passion anymore. We're looking at numbers. We're looking at, if it's on the internet, we're looking at followers and, pushing out things that aren't authentic anymore. It's to grab people's attention and drag them in. It's built on maybe it started out as a passion, but then it's built on a falsehood kind of thing. Being vulnerable with the outcomes. When we go in with a structured plan. Like I'm at point A and I want to get to point B, and I have to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and say there's 10 steps, and we get to the fifth step, and you go to step 7 and you skip step 6, or you went backwards a bit. You might feel like there's a failure, something's wrong, and we're going to get down our dumps, lose that passion, that fuel, that fire. All these things, when we have it so in our mind of how it has to go, that's resistance. To be vulnerable is to be okay, and not really with this structure, but be open to how things may unfold. We could even limit ourselves. Say we, just an example, you go into a job and you want this much money, and they give it to you, but they could have gave you more, but you weren't open to that idea. You just wanted that and say, I'll be happy, but you could have got more. By being vulnerable in the aspect, fortitude the other way, our walls are very built up. It has to go this way. Being open to the idea that things could be different, 10 times better, but have an open mind about it, I guess is where I'm going. And then our last card, I did ask, what would, putting all of this energy into our passion or our purpose create? Well, Wheel of Fortune, cycles of change. Of course, how could it not? And as I promised before, if we actually truly do put all of our energy into like the passion or our purpose, I should say our passion leads to our purpose. If we put all that energy into a passion, whatever it may be, there could be multiples of them. It's going to have great outcomes, and it's going to ripple much farther than we may think. So I'll leave it there. If any of that resonated, feel free to like, comment, and share, and I'll talk to you later.